Hello guys and welcome to Syokimau. Today I have a very exciting project. This one has been a bit of a headache and I'm going to walk you through each element that really challenged us when it came to this project. This is one of the tougher ones that we've ever experienced since the inception of Fine Urban Interiors. So you guys better buckle in because it's going to be a really exciting one. Let's go and begin the tour. So where we just started from is actually the main entrance of the house. It's kind of bare right now, but it's a very open type of setting for the main entrance, and I absolutely love that. So we do want to create a moment out here. We are going to have this transformed into a pergola. You can't see anything right now, but you'll be able to see that as we progress on through the site. So if you know what a pergola is, you know exactly what I mean and how it's going to look once we complete it. So of course we're going to do all the good stuff with the tile work and just make it feel like a moment, because as soon as you walk in, we have even more space. One thing I really want to point out about this project is the fact that it's very open plan. You can tell immediately you walk in because it's completely open. There's no solid walls, and that's exactly what the client wants. So if we're going to create any sorts of partitions, we're going to make sure that it's glass so it plays into that modern feel and still retains that element, that feel of being an open plan house. So right here we're in the foyer. It's a really large space, so we are going to get very creative in terms of how we really want to create that moment. You know, I always say in all the projects that we do, walking into the house, that first impression kind of gives you an idea of what to expect for the rest of the house, and especially this being an open plan house, it's going to play a huge role in the impression that you get as soon as you walk in. So you know, of course, up there we're going to have a gorgeous chandelier, and it's going to play together with whatever other elements we choose to put right here. So we swiftly move on and we can start right here. So this space here that, you know, has only been marked out by these pillars is the living room. So right now we're standing in the living room. You can see we have wire work going on. You know, all the cables have already been put in place. Not all of them, because there's actually a few things that we want to sort out, so we can't put the cables for those yet. But for somewhere like here, we know this is what we want, where we want the TV wall to be, so you can see the cables. We've already done that. And you'll notice that Fine Urban, the reason that we're actually able to have certain timelines where you're like, that's impossible, you can't do all that work in that amount of time, is because that we are very organized when it comes to figuring out all the steps that we need to do. So if you complete a certain thing on one space, you're like, we can call the guys to start working on the next phase of that. So we don't sit and wait like, oh, every room has finished this phase, let's go to the next one. If we complete one phase in one room, we can go to the next phase as we wait to complete the others. Anyway, with that said, let's look up at the gypsum. You can see we've already started working on the gypsum. We haven't put out the final designs just yet, but we are going to be completing this. Again, you can see the wires. We have done a lot of the wire work already because Fine Urban Interiors, we really like to play around with the lights. Now, another thing I want to point out is this project has had a lot of structural changes and there's more to come. So what you should expect to see as we progress through this project is all these pillars that you see around me, we have to modify them. They can't just stay as they are. So we are going to be modifying them and just making them look, you know, more of a feature in the house, like a more of an interior design feature. I think that's how I'd put it. More of an interior design feature, so they're just not so plain. So this is the living room. We're going to play around when it comes to the layout. And then we have a room on the end of this, but we're not going to go there just yet because that's the master bedroom. I want to get more in depth about that. But from the living room, we have now this entire section on this side. So I think I'm going to start with this side because this client wanted something like 2 kitchens, and this has to be the place that presented one of the biggest challenges when it came to this project. So this is initially where the main kitchen is meant to be. You can tell from this size, and you can tell from the fact that this is an open plan house, it's going to be very difficult to do what we do best, which is create as much storage as possible and have as much space as possible to move around. So we've had to really sit down and think about what's the best way to give this client everything they want without making them feel too cramped into one space. So this being the kitchen, we've thought about it and ended up with the idea of having a sink somewhere in this area, having the cooking station over in this area, and then having a small island right over here with an oven at the bottom, so that way that we're really trying to fit all the appliances we can right here. So this is going to be the section that all the main cooking is going to be happening. So we're going to fit it in a way where whoever is using this space is still going to have enough space to move around and have all the items that they need right here. So this space over here, another thing you'll notice about this project is the fact that it has a lot of smaller spaces. I'll point them out as we go. This is a prime example, but it actually works. This is going to be the pantry. We're going to have shelving in there. That's where all the food storage is going to be. So, and it's always a great idea to just have it directly adjacent to the kitchen. But with that said, I did say this was a very creative challenge, but Fine Urban Interiors, we like to make the best of a difficult situation. I don't want to say a bad situation, because the overall design of the house is very beautiful, but just placing things can be quite difficult. But I want to hear you guys' opinion down in the comments below. You know, I love to do this. I want to hear your opinions. What do you guys think? What layouts do you think would work best for this section? Because I've told you about our ideas, but you can tell there's some things I've not mentioned. We love to do customized storage, and I have not mentioned anything apart from the pantry to do with storage in this section. So let's go over to the next section, which is where we now want to bring in all that storage that we can't have in that section. So the thought process for this section is having it as a transitional section between these two areas, because they are supposed to function as one. Because we couldn't fit everything in there, we want to create a place where whatever's being done there, if you need anything from this section, you can have a transitional area where you can move things from one space to another. So this section, that's what we're thinking of doing there. But again, I want to hear your ideas for this entire area. What other layout ideas do you guys have? So over here is where we now want to go all out when it comes to the storage. So this entire wall is going to be filled with cabinetry and storage, so that we're not making the client feel constricted because we're not able to do anything else in that section. So moving on swiftly, we are now in the dining room. Do you see the flow? Do you see the idea? This is an open plan house. So it's very important to create flow between spaces that, you know, function together. So you've seen how I've moved from the living room into the kitchen, and then now we're in the dining room. So all those spaces are spaces that will be used in conjunction in one way or another. So this is the dining room. We have a lovely space here. And then the thing I really enjoy about all these rooms, you can see that, again, very, very open, not just in the interior, but also exterior. We have these large openings. So I can't wait to see once we do the landscaping. I'll tell you more about what we're thinking for the landscaping in this section. So, you know, once this view is done, it's going to be gorgeous, because you know that there's an effect when you're in your dining room, you want to have a lovely meal and you have a nice view as well. It just makes the experience more enjoyable and encourages people to come together as a family to sit at the dining table. I am a strong believer in family quality time. So I think the more spaces you're able to make a lot of people in the family enjoy together, the better. So the dining space, very big. You can have a really large table here. And again, let's go up to the gypsum. All throughout these spaces that I've talked about, we have already completed, like not completely completed the gypsum, but you can see the makings of the gypsum designs. You can see the wires are in. So we're really moving at a good pace. Now, before I move from this space and go to anywhere else, I have to say, if I'm going to design my house at any point, these kind of large linear windows, I definitely want to have that. It's just something that's so ultra modern. I just love it. And of course, light ventilation, as always, is very impressive. So on this floor, we also have a garage, an office, and a bedroom. So we're just going to take a brief look at that, just so you get an idea of the layout of the house. So come down this way. There's a lot of smaller spaces in this house, as I've mentioned before, so it's just about getting creative and really figuring out what's the best use for the spaces throughout this house, because they're integral. They're integral when it came to the main design of the house, so it's up to us to really make them make sense. So right now we are standing in the garage, which is not an example of a small space. Obviously it's a very big space. It's very conveniently placed so that when they drive in, it's immediately into the garage. This looks like it could hold a couple of cars, and it's perfect. So we're just smoothing out the walls, doing the gypsum. Of course, I always say fine urban interiors, no stone left untouched. I feel like we should change that to our motto as fine urban interiors. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We want to make sure everything is solid before we can move on to any next steps. And it's always a good sign when you see the gypsum work begin, because it means that we've assured that everything else is intact. So we're able to move on to that next step. We can go back into the house and take a look at where the office is located. I think that one is another very interesting room to take a look at. I have to say I'm really enjoying the ease of walking through this house. For me, I always say it's open plan all the way for me personally. I want to know, for you guys, if you were to design your house today, 2021, someone gave you the land, the money, the budget to really do it, what design would you go for? I think open plan for me all the way, very modern, very timeless. So follow me this way. This is where we have the office. I think it's very well located. It's in one small corner of the house where you can come in and get your privacy. You can see we've done the windows. We have the aluminum and glass I mentioned. We're going to keep this feeling very light, very airy, because that is what the client wants. Open spaces. He wants open plan, so we are not going to come in here and close off anything and make it feel any different. So you can see we've worked on that when it comes to the windows. The gypsum is done, and then let me give you another example of a small nook that's integral to the design of the house, but we have to come up with creative ways to, you know, design it. Right over here, right at the entrance, we have another small nook area where I personally cannot come up with any ideas of what to do with a place like this, but that spaces like this really excite me, because I know it pushes fine urban interiors to get very creative, and I know they're going to knock it out of the park once we know what's going to be in that section. So what's going on over here? Like, what is going on? What are all these fellas? So the thing is, when I talk about structural changes and talk about how we want to redesign those pillars to make them more of a part of the design, it also means there's walls that have been knocked down. It also means there's some things that need to be reshaped, and that's what's happening here. These stairs, we had to reshape them just to make sure that they were intact and the structure was sound before we can go on and beautify, because it's so easy to beautify things and ignore the glaring messes that were there before. But you know, fine urban interiors, before we move on to anything, we first check all the walls to make sure that there's nothing shaky, there's nothing cracked, because there's no point in us coming out in and making beautiful work only for it to be damaged because the structure below all that beautiful work was not strong enough. So that's exactly what we're doing for the stairs, and that's why we have all this going on. But no, we're not done with this floor yet, so we're not talking about the stairs. Let's go take a look at the master bedroom, and I can tell you all the plans that we have for that space. The most interesting thing about this master bedroom is that it has two entrances, and then also its location. I said this is the living room, so it's a bit awkward just having this entrance like right in the living room. You have no privacy coming in and out of the bedroom. So we've thought about it and we're like, this is not necessary. That entrance is a bit more private. You'll get to see it as we walk through the master bedroom. So the thought process here, another big structural change, closing this off because privacy matters, and the location of the master bedroom really is another place that really pushed us to think of, okay, what are we going to do? What's the best way to work with this situation? So this is the master bedroom. It's a very good sized room. You guys know there's no other rooms that I love more than the master bedroom. I always say you walk in and you immediately know it's the master bedroom just due to its sheer size. But also, I really enjoy them because I know that fine urban also goes with that feel. Whatever we do in here, we wanted to make that impact. We want want people to be able to be like, yep, that is definitely the master bedroom. It's not called the master bedroom for nothing. And you can already tell. Look up, look at the gypsum. Of all the designs we've looked at, this one really stands out because we want to create something unique in this room. So layout is going to be something that's also very vital. I always touch on this, be it the living room, kitchen, or any bedroom, layouts are so important. So that's another thing we had to tackle. We came in, figured out what's the best placement of things. And of course, we have to make sure there's enough light. We have to have enough ventilation. Very, very important. Now, there's a huge flaw, a very big flaw when it comes to this master bedroom, and that's its walk-in section. Now, they did designate a section, but it does not feel at all like the type of space that we like to design. It is very cramped. Every time I talk about any walk-in that we've designed, I always point out the fact that we've made sure to leave enough room where you can open and close comfortably and navigate. If we were to come in here and design something as it is, it definitely would have to compromise on the amount of storage we're giving the client, or compromise on how comfortable it is to actually move around in space. So what will Fine Urban do about this? You know, we want to give you 100%. We're building houses, not building houses. Okay, we are building houses. We want to design, yeah, that's the correct word, design houses that people live in for the long term. And there will be nothing more annoying than constantly being like, ugh, I have to go into the walk-in again and squeeze in there, or oh my God, now I have to buy another cabinet because this is not enough. So what will we do? We're going to do another huge structural modification. So we want to knock down the wall, push it back so that we have more room. The other thing you'll notice is they have a huge bathroom. The bathroom is so big. It's big, and according to what the client wants, we know that we can come up with a layout where it doesn't need all this space. We can still have something very beautiful, very functional, but it does not need all this space. So overall, they'll benefit from having that wall knocked down and pushed in just a little bit so that we can create more room for the walk-in and still have a very beautiful bathroom. So what's the plans for this bathroom? This is a very interesting one. I'd never thought about this before, but the complete separation of different sections. So everyone really has their own space. I mean, we've seen like his and hers sinks, but this takes it to the next level. And by that, I mean literally the next level, because we are going to have a toilet bowl there, and another toilet bowl there, a sink on this end, and another sink on this end. Who does that? I'd never thought of that, but I mean, knowing what I'm like, I'm the type of person who's going to have all their stuff all over the place on the sink. So if your partner doesn't necessarily like that and you're always bickering, why not just have two separate spaces? So definitely, that's another note taken. I might do that for my house. And then we also, the idea for the shower is in this section. So it's going to be like a rainfall type of shower. So it's not going to be one of those traditional ones that comes up. So it's going to be in the center, you're going to have rainfall. But the issue is we have to move all these features over to the side just a little bit because the placement was a bit odd. So we're just going to be shifting this. Another element we work on is plumbing. We do a lot of electric work and a lot of plumbing work. So when it comes to designing bathrooms, I need you guys to always keep that in mind because things are not as easy as it seems. There's so much more that goes behind designing these spaces other than just putting in beautiful tile and beautiful fixtures. But those are also going to be included. I mean, who doesn't want a rainfall shower? I certainly do. So once we have the sinks in, we have the toilet bowls in, we're also going to have a tub. Why not? Beautiful space. You can have a tub here. And definitely in this day and age, I would like a tub in my bathroom so I can distress anytime I want. I don't need to go out to a spa. I can just have, you know, a nice hot bath. But yeah, shower, we have the tub, we have the two separate toilet bowls, and that's, you know, the modification that we're going to do to make sure that this walk-in really feels like a walk-in and not like a squeeze in, because now it really feels like a squeeze in other than a walk-in. So that is it for the tour of this floor. So this is the door that we're actually going to keep open. So it has a bit of an hallway feel, so that is why we thought this one is the one that makes the most sense, because it creates a bit more privacy with that wall. So now we can head back to the stairs, and I can tell you more about that and then go upstairs and see what's going on up there. Now that we've had a tour of the bottom floor, before we can go up the stairs, I've touched on the stairs a little bit and all we're doing just to make sure everything's straight and everything's great before we start putting down any tile. Now down here, you guys have seen us doing several things below stairs. We tend to go for maximization of storage in any property that we do. So here we want to do something a bit different as per the request of the client. I always say we never put anything in anybody's house that they don't want there just because we think it's a great thing to have. As per the request of the client, we do want to include like a miniature bar area where they could just come and have some of their special drinks and whatever. So think counter, maybe building something like a wine rack, how we love creating wine racks. So just something that will fit this space but still feel like something that's very functional and the client will enjoy. So that's the game plan for below in this area once all this stuff is gone. So let's go up the stairs and take a look at the layout, which is interesting, the layout and some of the bedrooms, because there's yet more structural changes up there that I want to show you guys. We're here, guys. We have this huge landing, and then I'm a bit afraid of heights, so I'm not going to get too close to the edge here. There's nothing to protect me. But once they put up the grills, and then, whatever grills are going to come all this way, it's going to be immaculate, and I'll be more than happy to go on that edge to give you guys a closer look at all the beautiful, magnificent work we would have done here. But for now, it's very, very open. I actually quite enjoy this design because it's that airiness from downstairs completely being translated up here as well. Just leaving this place open just means that you keep that feel of an open, open plan house. So gypsum, important. This one is the one that we've gone closest to finishing. You can see from all the ones we've seen so far, this one is the closest one to being done. Simple, clean lines, ultra modern house. I think at this point, you guys should know that Fine Urban Interiors is designing modern houses that will last for a long time. We don't want to put anything that's particularly like super trendy that will quickly go out of style. So when you see us doing these kinds of designs in such large areas, it's because we know what effect it's going to have in the long term. So if we put anything that, kind of looks, let's say something that has a lot of twists and turns and is very eye-catching, and initially when they walk in, it's like, wow. If you live with that long enough, you're like, why does my house feel like a club? I don't want that. You don't necessarily want that for the long term. So we tend to go for designs that feel linear, they feel clean, and will really last for the long run. Like that's the goal. You want something someone can live with. And that's why I like to call Fine Urban Interior designs like classic, because something classic never goes out of style. So yeah, definitely beautiful work when it comes to the gypsum as always. But of course, this is going to be a place that is very integral to both the main entrance downstairs and then also up here. So of course, we're going to do a very beautiful light work all around, and it's going to have a very magnificent chandelier that is not only glamorous from this current view, but also for whoever is downstairs. So it's going to be enjoyed throughout the entire house. So now that I'm done rambling about gypsum, I really do love gypsum, like the type of work that Fine Urban Interiors does. These bare walls all around me at this small corridor that leads to another open space that we'll be looking at, and then right there at the landing, having this space, you can get really creative. You can have a small seating area on the wall. You could have very beautiful artwork. If it's wall hangings, just a space that really gives you space to play around and really just add a lot of features. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But this is another part where I want you guys to interact with us. We want to hear your ideas. If this was your landing area, what would you want here? What do you think? If we were to come to you, you'd tell us you want in the section. I can't wait to read your answers. They're always so interesting. So let's go and take a look at that open area right at the end of this corridor. So what you see over here is yet another seating section, I would call it, because it seems like it's a place that's been created for people to be able to come and enjoy the views. Because again, very big open spaces, but you can tell that there is like a roof over me, so it's kind of inside the house. So I'm thinking, personally, this was my space. This would be like, okay, I don't necessarily want to go out and be in the elements, but I still want to enjoy the views. So a couple of seats here would be perfect for me personally. But again, I always can't wait to see how things turn out at the end, because they're always greater than you could ever imagine. And honestly, I hope you guys are going to be on this journey with me, just like you guys have been on different journeys with me on our YouTube channel. So I hope you're gonna stick around for this one as well. But again, over here, you can see a prime example of another small niche integral to the design of the house, but not really a place that's useful. There's a window there, so I'm presuming this is going to be transformed into something that's going to be very, very useful. Again, we don't want any spaces to go to waste. We want every nook and cranny to be a place that is useful to the space. So now let's look at the exterior area. There's a lot of large balconies on this floor. That just goes to show that the client was very intent on being able to have areas where they could sit outside and just take a look at the view. So this is one of them. Very big area. You get a three-sided view of this area of town. So I really enjoyed. And then you also get a view of the backyard. You guys know I love talking about how people can interact in different spaces. I'm personally the type of person who would like to yell down at someone in the backyard. I haven't mentioned this, I think, but the pool, we're planning on having a pool in this backyard. So if I was in the pool or if I was up here for some reason, I'd definitely be the type of person to be yelling across. So I love spaces that still are open enough to have those interactions. But then again, it's just a nice place to get away from everything. This place has so much potential. I can still see multiple people being able to come here for different reasons. I love sections like this because if you have a lot of people in your home, if you like to entertain, everybody can still have different spaces in the house to go and have private chats, to just be away from everyone, so you're not all cramped into the same space. So we can go back inside and now take a look at the bedrooms that are on this floor. We're going to start with the room that we have made a major change in. Actually, it's major in the effect that the change has had, but once you see it, it'll seem like something that was so minor and something that was so obvious. So this is the room, and something I really, really love about the sizes of these bedrooms is because we really didn't have to fuss about that, because, you know, I said that the design of the house was great from the beginning. It's just that there's so many things we had to tweak here and there, and that's exactly what we're doing. Just coming in and being like, okay, that's not necessary, or oh, we could shift this a bit, or we could remove this wall and just make things make more sense within the space. And that's exactly what we've done for this room. We have this large room. Now we have a room that feels large, but initially there existed a wall here. So I don't know if you guys can visualize, but if we have before footage, you will be able to see what it looked like before. But there was a wall here, a tiny corridor now leading into the balcony of this room, and something like that might seem so minor, but it had such a big impact on the size of this room. This room now feels very, very spacious, but that's not how it felt before we demolished that wall. And because we did that, we can now create room for a walk-in. So we're now able to create a room some space where we have a walk-in and still have plenty of space for everything else. And that's another major change that we've made to this bedroom. Now there's ease of movement. We can come out here freely, and we are in the balcony. So this room has one of the smaller balconies, but still, any balcony is a good balcony as long as you have enough space to have like a seat or two. Whoever is using this room, if they have like friends over, this is a really big enough space to just have like a couple of seats where they can just come and have some privacy and just be away from everyone. And I think that's actually a very big goal when I think about designing a house and having such areas. For me personally, is about having different spaces that you can get away from everything when you don't necessarily want to be downstairs with everybody, or even within your own room you might want a thinking space, looking out into the view and just, you know, distressing and getting things out of your mind. That's why I keep saying every time I'm in those types of spaces that I love this space, and I know it sounds repetitive, but it's because I genuinely enjoy them and I can visualize myself having something like that in my house and all the things I would use it for. And I hope you guys are able to kind of do that with me. And that's why I always go into depth about these spaces, because I want you guys to also be able to imagine if Fine Urban was to come and redesign your house, what we'd be able to accomplish. And you'd already have ideas because you have a full in-depth idea of what we tend to do for properties. So another thing I did mention, all the bedrooms are en suite. So this bedroom is no different. We do have a bathroom. All of them have enough room, each of the bathrooms, so it's up to us to come in and really put in all those gorgeous fittings, sink, toilet bowl, shower, all that good stuff. And then also tiles. You know, this is what I was talking about. Downstairs, the bathrooms, we've already started doing the tile work. This is where we really show that Fine Urban never just sits still. We didn't say like, oh no, everything has to stop until we're done with this thing and then go to the next thing, and then no, we're always moving. So this is a great example. We already have this bathroom done in terms of the wall tiles, and that just keeps things moving. And that's just a small part of how we're able to have certain timelines and still produce amazing work. So now we're going into the next room, which does not feel as big as the other one, but it's still very spacious. You can see we have work going on. We never stop working. But yeah, this is another room where you do have enough room to have a very nice sized bed in here. You can still create a lot of storage. You have plenty of light, plenty of ventilation coming into this room. And again, we have an ensuite in this bathroom. It's just ready and waiting for us to come in and fully deck it out with all the best fittings on the market, because we don't give our clients any less than perfection, and that's always our goal. Nice space here, and I can't wait to see all the fittings once they're in and all the beautiful light work. So another thing that this bedroom has as an advantage, you know, it might lack in terms of the size when it comes to the other one, but when it comes to the balcony department, this room is definitely winning. Guys, look at this. This is massive. I was talking about hanging out with your friends in the other room. Now this is where the party is happening. You could have an entire outdoor party out here. I always like talking about nice, cool nights. Yeah, if I have a birthday and I can have people sleep over, we're definitely hanging out here once all the party festivities are done downstairs, and you know, we just want to come here and, you know, end the night on a high note. This is definitely where the party is happening. Have a couple of seats, have your system. This is just a very nice space. And then again, you have all this view all around, and you get to see exactly at the gate. So if I wanted to monitor who's coming in and out, let's say someone's not invited to my party, right? I want to make sure that they're stopped right at the gate. I could stand right over here and have a nice view at the front yard and just see whatever is going on there and interact with whoever is down there. But again, this is another space. I love seeing big spaces like this because I know Fine Urban Interiors is going to deliver. And I've always said, even though I've been given ideas of what's going to be happening on site, when it comes to fruition, I feel like I'm just like you guys, because I also get to experience it and be like, wow, what? Like, I've talked about this, but I had no idea it's actually going to look like that. So I'm super, super excited to see all the grills that are going to go all around, because I know right now it feels kind of dangerous. That's why you're seeing me avoid the edges, because I don't want to fall over. But just to see what's going to be out here and what's going to be inside in terms of grills, because I know we're going to create harmony, we're going to create flow throughout the property, because we like having elements that you can see from the exterior also reflected inside, just so that the whole house feels cohesive. Now, another thing I haven't touched on is really what the plans are for the backyard and the front yard. I know I've said we're planning on having a pool, but obviously that's not all we're going to do. But at the moment, the main thing that we are working on is leveling out. You cannot start putting anything in any of these spaces without leveling out the ground. It's one of those final heavy lifting moments. So we are currently working on leveling out everything. We have a huge team of people working day in, day out, different aspects, different teams, making sure the work is moving, making sure everything is done up to perfection. And we have come to the end of yet another amazing tour. We are working on several different projects right now, but I guarantee you none of them is going to feel neglected, and you can see the makings of a great project in this as well. I want you guys to also go to our YouTube channel and just see everything else that we are currently working on. I want you guys to take these as journeys, because the main point of me having this job and being here is for you guys. So let me know what's your favorite parts of the projects that we do, but most especially for this video, tell me your favorite part of this house. But also don't forget to let me know, those places have asked you guys a couple of questions. I want to hear your thoughts, I want to hear your ideas, because I genuinely enjoy that interaction. So find us on YouTube at Fine Urban Interiors. Like, share, comment, do all that good stuff. But if you're not going to do any of that, the most important thing you can do is turn on your notification bell, because that is the only way you'll know every single time that we post a new video. And if you want to follow this journey, that will definitely benefit you. But that's not the only place where you can find our content. We're also on all other social media platforms. Find us on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, all at Fine Urban Interiors. My name is Cynthia Shoya from Fine Urban Interiors, and I will see you in the next video.